failed to tell Chauvin that a doctor had determined that George Floyd died due to acute heart failure resulting in pulmonary edema and death. Now, there were indications that Floyd had a heart tumor that could have caused sudden cardiac death, and Chauvin was never told about that, nor was it brought up at trial, even though it seems like an extremely relevant fact. The second claim is that Chauvin's lawyer should have listened to the doctor and ordered tests on samples that were preserved from George Floyd's body. Those tests could have determined whether Floyd died of a type of myocarditis or some other heart ailment. And now, several years later, the federal judge has finally allowed Chauvin's new legal team to conduct those tests. Depending on what they show, they could completely undermine the prosecution's argument that Chauvin caused the death of George Floyd. And that, in turn, could lead to the conviction being thrown out and potentially a new trial if prosecutors decide to pursue it. Now, one of the reasons this is such an important ruling is that in Chauvin's trial, there was clear evidence that the prosecution lied about the concentration of fentanyl in George Floyd's system when he died. And if this case is tried again, this is going to be a major issue. Now, you might remember that in the initial autopsy report, the medical examiner determined that Floyd had lethal levels of fentanyl in his system. He said that there were no physical signs of strangulation and that it looked like a textbook overdose. But shortly afterwards, his assessment changed. Watch.
Medical examiner Dr. Andrew Baker testified that in his initial autopsy on George Floyd, he found no physical evidence of asphyxia and that coronary artery disease and hypertension contributed to his death. Baker later added Floyd's high level of fentanyl and other drugs in his system also were factors in his death, as was the police restraint. Baker says his office received hundreds of complaints and threats as a result of these findings, but Baker denied he ever felt pressured to change his conclusions.